Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute pendant. I'll put a list of everything you're going to need in the description below. So let's get started. I just want to do a quick thank you to all my patrons for all your support. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll put your names on the screen. Thank you to all of you. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge. I've cut 4 lengths at 11 inches, which is 28 centimetres. You'll need weaving wire, so today I'm using 0.25, which is 30 gauge, which is a little bit thinner than what I'd normally go for. So you can go a little bit thicker if you want to. I've wound mine onto a bobbin. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. You just wind your wire onto there, and then that sits down by your side while you're working. It just makes it a bit easier to handle the longer wires. If you don't have one of those, don't worry, you can just cut lengths as you go. So I'm using a teardrop stone today. Mine is 30mm by 20, so anything that kind of size, anything similar to that will work. If your stone is much bigger or smaller, make sure to adjust your wire lengths. You might need to add a few more inches onto those. Tools, I've got my pliers, round nose cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy for straightening the wires and compressing and flattening the weaves. These are Prestige. All my other tools are Tronex. My pliers are needle nose. So there's a list of all these things that you'll need in the description below. So cut your wires to the lengths that I have. Position your thumb centrally, and we'll start weaving just to the left of your thumb there. So take your weaving wire and measure about roughly 20 inches. So we've got a bit of length there, and that's where we're going to start weaving from. So we've got that 20 inches to the left of us, so we can add more weave onto the other side in a moment. So we're going to start with a few wraps around the second wire. So wrap 3 times around that second wire. Bring your wire up between those bottom 2 wires. So we'll wrap twice around the middle 2. This weave may seem a little bit tricky to get your head around, but I'm going to stick with the same weave all the way through, apart from the bail. So come up between those middle 2 wires, and we go twice around the top 2 wires. Bring the wire under the bottom, and we go over the bottom 2 wires. Bring the wire up between those bottom 2 wires, and we go around the middle 2. So it's not that tricky. But that's our weave, and that's our Gracie snoring. So you come up between the middle 2 wires, keep pushing it together as you go. We wrap around the top 2 wires twice, wrap around the bottom 2 wires, come up between those bottom 2, and we go around the middle 2. We'll do that once more. Go around the top 2, go around the bottom 2, go around the middle 2. She is snoring. And then we'll finish with a few wraps around the second wire. Go 3 times. So now we do a slightly different weave where we leave out the top wire and the bottom wire. So we're just going to weave across the middle 2 wires. So we wrap around both wires twice, then we'll go around the bottom wire twice, at the bottom of those two, sorry. So we're just going along the middle two wires. So I've done 12 repeats of that weave there over the two wires, and then we'll go back to weaving over the 4. So I've finished that with 3 wraps around the second wire, and then we'll do this again. So we come up between the bottom 2 and we go twice around the middle 2, so it's the same weave as the first one. Come up between those 2, we go twice around the top 2, twice around the bottom 2. Oh, she's making a noise. Come up between those 2, twice around the middle 2. I'm sure she starts making a noise because I start talking. We've been sat here having a nice quiet morning, and now I'm doing a video, I'm talking, she has to make all the noise too. So we'll do another couple of repeats of that weave. Okay, so take your pliers, and we're going to bend the wires to go around the bottom of the stone. We're going to bend them here for this part. So kind of grip just to the right of that second repeat there. We want the second repeat to be in the middle of the bend. And we're going to put a big bend in those wires. And you want this bend to match the bend of your stone. So adjust it a little bit if you need to. So continuing on with the weave on this side, so finish your weave with 3 wraps around the second wire. And then do the weave we did here. So 2 wraps around 2 wires, 2 wraps around the bottom wire. So I've done 8 repeats of that weave, and I've finished with 3 wraps around the second wire. Then we're just going to join all the wires together once more. Same weave that we did over the 4 wires. So that's that done. Keep pushing it all together as you go. And we'll do the same to the other side, so turn it over. So now you need to kind of mirror what you've already done. Working on just the middle 2 wires now, we're doing that middle 2 wire weave. That wire needs to come up here, between the bottom 2. We go around the middle 2, twice. Come up between those 2, and we go twice around that upper wire. And we've got to do that. We've got to have 12 repeats. And I'll meet you there. Then we do the 3 repeats over all 4 wires. Push that together. So we finish with 3 wraps around that 3rd wire, and then we repeat just across the 2 wires, so leaving out the outer 2. We come up between the bottom 2. So now we're going to do 8 repeats, and I think we've just got enough weaving wire off that tail end to do it. 8 repeats on just those middle 2 wires. So I think I have just enough weaving wire to finish it, but I'm going to recommend that you leave a slightly longer length so it's a bit easier. We do 1 more repeat of this over all 4 wires, the 3 repeats over the 4 wires. So I've finished with 3 wraps around that third wire, push it all together. And we're going to just check it again against the stone. Those weaves should reach to the top of the stone there. Okay, so holding it down on your flat surface, you're going to bring those wires around that top shape of your stone there. Make sure your stone is pushed right down into that V at the bottom, and gently bring your wires around to cup the top of the stone. We want a gap above the stone. And then where the wires cross at the top there, we're going to bend them up. Just have a look at it first. Take it away from the stone and just have a look at it and make sure it's all nice and even. Because one of the things I've noticed I do is I tend to bring the right wires over more. My right bends always seem to be more dominant, so just make sure it's nice and even looking. And then where the wires cross at the top, we're going to bend them up. So you can either do that on a flat surface with your pliers, or you can do it with your hands. Bend them up. Shouldn't be using the nails really. Just starting to grow them back. And then have a look and just try and even up those bends a bit. So we've got that nice bit of tidy weaving all the way up. I think I'm going to cut it off there. So give the wire a little pull first, and then cut it at the back, and then press down that little cut end there. So when you're definitely happy with that shape and the stone is sitting nicely in that shape there, it's really pressed down into the bottom there. We'll join it at the top. So looking at your top wires, we'll join it together where they meet there. I'm just pulling the wires apart a little bit just so they don't cross over each other. And we'll attach this with a few wraps around the back wire. So slide that down to where the wires meet. Bring your wires together and trying to keep them next to each other so they don't cross over each other. We're going to wrap around the whole thing. About 4 or 5 times. And then hunt out that back wire, and we'll wrap a few times around that one to finish off that and to tie that in place. Check your stone still fits in there, and when you're happy with that, we'll cut the tail end off from the beginning of those wraps, pressing down that little tiny cut end. So next we'll attach our stone. So turn to the back, we'll do that first. So we're looking at these back wires here, the bare ones, from the little weave that went across the 2 wires. So we're looking at these bare wires here. And get your pliers around that wire, so kind of wriggle in between those wires a bit. We need to get in that gap. And then looking at the back, we're going to get in there, wriggle all the way up to the top there. And we're going to twist that wire over the back of the stone, press it against the stone and that'll hold it in from that side. I'm going to do the same on this side. Wiggle all the way up to the top and then grip that wire and do one big bend in over the stone and then press it against the stone. And we're going to do the same with this bare wire here on both sides to get a little gap between the wire and the weave. You want to do that on both sides and on the front as well. So I've made little gaps between those base wires and the weave, and at the back you'll grip that back wire, wriggle down so you're right next to the weave there on the side, and we're going to twist the wire over the stone and press against it, and this will secure the stone in from the back. Do the other side too, wriggle all the way down, twist the wire, one big twist so you don't mark your wire too much, press it all against the stone, whisk cream round the front. So the joint, the wires we're bending on the back, we've done quite big bends and they're a bit ugly. We're going to do it a bit more delicate on the front. So grip the wire and we're going to wriggle right the way down to the bottom. At the bottom here we're going to twist the wire in. And then we're going to do the other side. Grip that wire, wriggle down, try and get to the same height, so you're kind of matching it up to that bend. Twist that wire in, press it against the stone. So you can see where it's going now. And then with this upper wire, we're going to grip it right at the top, get up nice and high, and we're going to twist that wire in over the stone. Press it against the stone. So I'm just a little bit down from that end. Same on this side, grip the wire, wriggle up, try and match up the height with the other side, and we just do one big twist and then press that wire against the stone, give it a squeeze. I've twisted the top a little bit, I'm a little bit heavy handed. That's what we've got so far. Quite nice. Please don't share images of the back or in progress when you're sharing your finished work online. Please mention me, Kelly Jones Design. Really appreciate you guys. Let me explain why, because I get a lot of people saying, why can't we show the back? I want people to come here and watch this video. If you show people images of the back, they can just make it without watching the video. So if you do show the back, you're giving all my little secrets away. Okay. So looking at these wires at the top, you should have 4 on each side. So have a look and spread them out and make sure they're not crossing over each other. So you've got 4 wires on each side. Take the 2 back wires and bend them down and out the way for now on both sides. So now we're going to work over the front 4 wires. Spread your wires out a little bit so you've got a nice open V in the middle there. And we're going to do a bail weave, so don't be phased out, don't think you've got to do something else. I'll help you do this bail weave and we'll do it nice. Don't remember cutting this wire, so I think it snapped off while I was having my dinner. I must have snapped it off because it's lay here right next to it. I must have snapped it at some point, so I'm just going to add that back in. So if your wire is still attached, just carry on with that wire. So bring your wire to the front and wrap a few times around this wire here, which if we're looking at it sideways, hold on a second, if we're looking at it side on like this, I'll call them 1, 2, 3, 4. To wrap around your second wire a few times. Push it down as far as it'll go. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap around the first and second wire twice. Then we'll come up between those 2 wires and we'll wrap around the second wire, and then we'll go over to the opposite side. We go once around that third wire, we go twice around the 2, we go once around the third wire, then we come back over to this side. So that's our repeat. We go once around the second wire, once around the twice around the 2 wires, once around the second wire, then over to the other side. Go once around the third wire, we go twice around 2 wires, we go once around the third wire. We're going to do that, keep repeating that weave across those 4 wires for about a centimetre, maybe a centimetre and a half. Try not to pull the base wires in as you go, just take it slow and push down your stitches, your wraps as you go. So you always come over the middle and then you go over the opposite wire. So I've gone over the third. We do that little repeat on that side. And then we come over the middle, so we're coming over the second. So then we go around the second wire, twice around the bottom 2, and once around the second wire, over the middle section, so we're going over that third wire. So I've done 1.5 centimetres, 2 if you measure from down where the wraps are. And what we're going to do now pull the bobbin straight off. I like having the bobbin on because I like the weight of it. Keeps pulling the wire down, otherwise it tends to flail about, so I've just tied the end of it back in. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take the middle wires only, and we're going to bend them in. And holding that side, we're going to bring that middle wire in. So then look at your wires. You want a nice diamond shape with those middle wires. We're going to leave these wires going out. So now we're going to weave just across those middle two wires. Where they cross there, making sure you're happy with that diamond shape. Where they cross there, we're just going to bend them out. Can you hear the ice cream van? It's quite pleasant. So now we weave just across those two. Where are we? So we've just come around that wire. So we're going to go over the opposite wire. So now as you weave this last part, the wire's going to keep wanting to slide up here. So as you work one side, you're going to hold the other side down. So as you're working, it's best to try and pull it down the best you can. If you can hold that side as well, brilliant. And we'll wrap around 3 times. Push it right down, hold it down, and then come over to this side. And then you're going to wrap around this side. It's going to keep sliding up. Push it down. We're going to go 3 times. Push it down, hold it down, go across to the other side. So that's our repeat. We're just going to go 3 times around each side. Push it down, coming over, whoop, the middle to the other side. I think you can hold it to the front on this side, that's a bit better. The 3 times, that's 3 times. Make sure it's pushed right down. Hold this side, go over to the other side and keep going until you reach the top. So I've just finished that weave. If you get gaps between the repeats on this last part, then it's fine because that's going to go to the back and you won't really see that. Now we're going to bend the bail. I'm going to bend it forwards a little bit at the bottom first. If you want to use bail pliers, then that's brilliant. Use your bail pliers. I'm just going to bend it over my finger. So as you bend the wires, you must be careful not to let them come together because you'll squash all this lovely weave. So I'm bending the wires over and I'm going to take the ends. Hold on. Let's just bring the ends together. I'm going to take the ends through. So as I bring the bail around, I'm taking the ends through to come through above the stone. Try and bring it over nice and even. I weave a slid down a little bit. I think I'm just going to pop some bail pliers in just for that last little bit. Seems a shame to spoil it at this point. So I'm just carefully bringing the back of the bail around and I'm going to pull those wires through the middle. So you want to bring your weave down at the back so it kind of meets at the back there, and then these 2 wires come up and out at the front So we can cut that weaving wire at the back. Press that little cut end down. Really going to send those wires out to the sides. So next we're going to take these two wires that were a part of the bail that kind of finished at the top there. Now you've got to be careful bending these because you don't want to spoil the weave of the bail. So we need to be careful when we take these now. But I'm going to take this wire over the bail. I'm trying to hold the bail so that I don't press those wires together. And we're going to bring that wire around and down the front and the other one. Very carefully trying just to bend that wire and nothing else. We're going to bring it around and down the front. Bring those two wires down the front like that. Then take this wire over this one. So it goes to the base of these two wires on the side. Do it on this side too. So on the side we've got two wires. We're going to take the lower one, holding those two wires in place, so let's get them symmetrical looking. We're going to take the lower wire and we're going to come around. So this wire comes over and then we're going to scoop it down. And we're going to do the same with the other side. So take the lower wire and we're going to scoop it around. And we try and match up the wires. So this needs to come down a little bit. Try and match up the wires. Bring it in. And then we scoop it down. We take a moment just to match up those shapes. I think that's a little bit wider on that side. So then we take this wire, so this is the higher wire, and we come up, we go over the bail, then we're going to scoop the wire around, so we're following that top wire. We follow it over to the side. And we'll do that so the other side too, so if we do a bit at a time. So that needs to come up, matching it up with the other side, so we're going over in the same kind of place, over the bail, and then scoop it around, pressing it against the bail a little, bring it around to follow, and then just take a minute to get those wires to be the same as each other. Going back to this wire up here, we're going to follow this front wire. I think what I'm going to do is, these two wires that came out to the side from the bail, I think I'm going to push those to the back because they're going to get in the way. And that other one too. And if I pull them out to the sides, it won't stop me showing you what I'm doing. Right, so this wire that has come over the bail and then it's come down close next to that wire is then going to go around and follow this wire from this heart in the middle and then scoop out to there like that. And we'll do the same with this wire on this side. So holding it against the bail, push it back a little bit. We're going to scoop it around to follow the top of that heart shape and then follow the scoop at the bottom of the heart there. At the top, I'm going to lift this wire up a bit at the base. This wire, the one that comes from the top, holding that front part in place, I'm going to bring it up and around those wires there and on the other side, holding that top part in place. I'm going to take it to the back and then bring it up and around, and then that wire is going to come over the front. So these wires are just leading the way now and we're getting some interesting shapes going on. Just pressing it all down. So next we're going to take these outer wires, these ones, and we're going to feed them through the middle. So try not to misshape them too much. They will misshape a little bit. We're going to push them through the gap above the stone there. So I'm going to take this outer wire around, so I'm going to pull it forward a little bit first. And then I'm going to feed it through the gap at the top of the stone, pull it through, and then try and reshape that wire. So we need to match up those shapes so they go out in the same places. So I've adjusted those wires a little bit. So they go out to the sides. And then these middle 4 wires, I want those to fit in that gap there. You really can do whatever you want with these wires if you want to take it your own way. I'm just going to do a little bit of weave over these wires here, over the 4. So weaving across these 4 wires in the middle here, I've cut about 10 inches of weaving wire. I'm going to wrap a few times around the second wire to join. We've nearly finished now. So I'm going to wrap around the middle 2 wires twice, come up between those 2, go around the top 2, I'm then going to go around the top and include that one there, and then I'll come under the bottom and I'll go around the bottom 2, and then I'm going to include that 3rd wire, so I'll go underneath that wire and going around the bottom 2, coming up between the bottom 2, and then go around the middle 2 again. So now I'm going to let the outer wires go to the sides, and I'm going to do just a little bit of a bail weave over these 2 wires. I'm going to open them out a little bit, so I'm going to go over and wrap around twice, over the bottom one, wrap around twice, and do that a few more times. I might just finish that with a bead, so I pop a bead on that wire, just finish with a few wraps around the other side. Cut that leaving wire, can also cut that from the beginning there. So these 2 wires will come out to the sides, like that, and then these 2 wires will come up. So I'm going to grip that wire there, I'm going to bend it up like that, give it a little squeeze, and this one try and match the heights. My one side was a lot higher, so I've just corrected that, so I've got them both the same. So then those 2 wires that are coming up are then going to scoop out, so they come up the middle and then they scoop out to the sides, and they go just next to where that previous wire was. And then I'm going to take these wires around this wire here, so I can cut a little bit off. I'm just going to wrap it around, and I'll do the same for the other side. Need to be able to get around that wire. So we'll finish some back wires, because we've got a lot of back wires here. These that come around the neck, we can just cut those off and press them around. Not going to do anything else with those. You can if you want to. And then these that come out, as long as you're happy with the placing of those wires, we can bring those over, making sure that they haven't moved, and we can cut those off. And press those around the top wires there. Didn't mean to do that. And we'll try and match up the heights. So I've just bent the wires over the back, so I've gone around, bent them over the back, and then I'll cut them and bend them over to finish on the back. I know this is going to sound crazy. I can see a fox. I can see a fox face there. I really can. Strange how the wire leads you sometimes. I hope this one wasn't too crazy for you. I'll run and oxidise and I'll show you the finished result. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like help oxidising yours, I've done videos on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put links in the description below. Oh, I'm out of breath. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.